The vitality and yield potential of a plant is directly related to the health and fertility of the soil in which it grows. Soil health and fertility, like that of animals and human beings, requires continuous monitoring and improvement. Crop residue can clog plows and slow down land preparation. To avoid this, farmers can use a harrow or a shredder to chop the crop residue into small pieces, which makes subsequent land preparation activities easy. It also helps in the incorporation of the crop organic matter into the soil. Farmers are encouraged to practice crop residue management practices to conserve soil and water. Plant residues are a good source of plant nutrients and are primary sources of organic materials added to the soil. Burning plant residue releases large amounts of carbon dioxide into the atmosphere. This emission of high levels of carbon dioxide is bad for the environment. It amounts to pollution and also contributes towards global warming. Burning the residue also means that the soils will be left bare, which will affect soil fertility. The soil will then be exposed to rainfall impact and the baking sun, which can cause erosion and rapid loss of nutrients. This should be discouraged at all times. In areas where there is high demand for animal feed, controlled grazing is permitted, or a percentage of the crop residues are removed from the field for feed or silage. An adequate amount of residue must, however, be left on the field to provide soil surface protection. After a few years of effective crop residue management, yields will increase, meaning that the amount of residue removed for animal feed is often equal to the entire amount of residue produced prior to adopting the crop residue management system. At each harvest, nutrients taken up from the soil by the growing crops are taken away from the field in the form of grain or stover, further reducing the productive capacity of the soil. Maize, like most food crops, requires a good supply of primary nutrients, that is nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium, or NPK. Soil deficiencies in some of these crucial nutrients manifest themselves physically on the maize plant. Loss of green color is a hunger symptom of nitrogen. Nitrogen deficiency may also be shown by yellow discoloration of leaves from mid-rib backwards and premature death of lower leaves. Phosphorus is important in plant root formation. Phosphorus deficiency is accompanied by a reduction in plant growth, and leaves develop a dark bluish green and purple color. A potassium deficiency is accompanied by a weakening of the stalk, resulting in lodging and crop loss. Symptoms of potassium deficiency also include drying along the tips and edges of the lower leaves. To determine fertilizer needs of your crop, it is essential to know which nutrients are required for the desired crop performance. To facilitate production of higher maize yields, it is necessary to carry out appropriate tests and identify the short-term needs of the crop and the long-term needs of the soil. To determine those needs, frequent soil analysis is necessary. Once the needs are identified, farmers should seek advice from experts on appropriate rations of fertilizers to apply in their fields. Points to note: mix crop remains with the soil to increase soil fertility. Do not burn crop remains because it's bad for the environment and bad for your soil. Ensure your soil has the right nutrients by carrying out soil analysis and applying the appropriate fertilizers. With many different varieties of maize seeds available for farmers to choose from, it is important for farmers to select varieties most suitable for their environmental conditions as well as their needs. Why is it important for you to get the right seed?
It's very important for a farm which is doing crops such as maize, and is doing maize on maize on maize. So it's doing maize year 1, year 2, year 3, year 4, to try and change seed varieties. This is simply because of issues of disease, for example, where one seed variety or a very old seed variety is susceptible to maize diseases, which newer varieties are resistant to. The seed companies have actually given options to farmers. There's a whole range of seeds which are better hybrids, which are supposed to be drought resistant in some cases, which give better yields in some cases. Farmers have insisted on using particular types of seeds which they are used to. In reality, there are better seeds to use, depending on what you want. There are seeds that are specific to forage, if you want to do silage for your cows. There are seeds that are specific to combine harvesting, if you want to combine harvest your maize. There are seeds that are specific to other different things. So a farmer shouldn't look at it from the perspective of one seed is the best and it has been the best for 20 years. You'll be surprised to find that another seed variety which came from that original seed is much better and has been developed over a period of 10, 15, 20 years to give you a better yield for the same inputs.
When selecting the variety to grow, a farmer should consider the following factors: the agroecological zones, which are divided into high, medium and low altitude zones; agroclimatic zone, or the general climate of the area; disease resistance to the various diseases prevalent in a particular area. Another factor is the yield potential, where some varieties will give you 20 to 40 bags, while others will give you 40 to 50 bags per acre.
We also consider the issue of the maturity period. We have early maturing varieties, which also happen to be drought escaping, and they are suitable for areas which receive a minimum amount of rains, like in the eastern Kenya, Ukambani area, and some places of coast, among other areas. We also have varieties that have a medium maturity period in areas which get maybe 3 months, 4 months of rain. We also have varieties that are late maturing. They may take up to 5, 6, 7 months before maturity. So depending on the weather and the timing of expected produce, you select your variety. We also consider the behavior of the cob. We have varieties that the mature ear droops, which is very important to avoid rotting of the grain when it's mature. We also have varieties that tend to lodge more easily than others. And for those people who are using mechanized harvesting, it is very important that you buy varieties that can stud without good stability, without lodging. It's also very important for farmers, because even the ordinary farmers, when a variety lodges, the amount of rotting and attack by rats also goes up.
It is crucial to keep in mind the targeted use of the harvested maize. Before deciding on which variety to grow, consider the intended use of the harvested maize. The grain may be used for home consumption and storage, sold to processing companies for flour, oil, and feed, or used for silage. For you to make an informed choice on the right variety, seek advice from your extension service provider.
And as we know, seed cost constitutes only about 5% of the total production cost. But it is the biggest determinant to the final yield. As such, if you compromise on the variety of the seed or try to save on the 5%, you end up losing the 95% that you have invested in that farm, and also lose the amount of time you have put. So the seed is the most important determinant.
Practically, the farmer has to consider a mix of factors to come up with the best variety. Once the farmer has identified the right seed, then planting can begin. Planters are usually designed to give several plant population options. Farmers should therefore make sure that the planters they use are calibrated to give optimum plant population.
The spacing is 25 by 25 centimeters. Now, which translates to plant population of between 18,000 and 21,000 plants per acre. Underseeding, that is doing below 18, you are underseeding the farm, which will translate into low yields eventually. You must achieve that plant population for optimum crop yields. To do that, you need a planter that is well calibrated so that you actually use the recommended fertilizer, recommended plant population, which of course will give you the yield that you aspire.
Points to note. Choose the right maize variety for your area and according to your needs. Use a properly calibrated planter to get a good plant population. Look out for newer and better ways of maize farming. To continually get the desired maize yields, remember, prepare your land in good time. Alternate land tillage practices. Choose the right land preparation equipment. Practice crop residue management and manage soil fertility. Choose the right seed. Ensure an optimum plant population. You cannot obtain better results by doing the same things. So keep an eye on newer and better ways of maize farming to ensure that your maize farming business remains profitable.
And if you're looking at the current world climate change, you just have to change. The technology is available. If you can afford it, use it. That's the way I would look at it.
AIC